Hi, my name is Angela Huffman with QuiltedJoy.com. I want to show you two great rulers that I know you're going to love. This one is the Ideal Quilt Guide. It's 15 inches long, and this one is the Ideal Quilt Guide Angel Edition. My daddy, when I was a girl, called me Angel, so that's why this one is the Angel Guide. It's shorter. It's an 8-inch guide. This one is a 15-inch guide. They're 2 inches wide, and what makes them different, you're going to love this, they have a sticky bit on the back side of the ruler, and that grabs a hold of the fabric, gives it nice stability. So especially if you're new to ruler work, this will help you get those nice straight lines without that little kink in them when you go to realign your ruler for the rest of the straight line. Let's take a look at how to use this. I'm also going to show you how to clean the rulers when they get filled up with lint on that sticky bit, how to clean them off so they get sticky all over again. And we're going to look at it on a long arm machine. I have another video that shows how to use these on a sit-down domestic or a sit-down long arm machine. So if you have a sit-down or domestic or sit-down long arm machine, go find that video because I'm going to show you how to use that on both kinds of quilting machines. This is the Ideal Quilt Guide Angel Edition, and I have the Ideal Quilt Guide. This is the big one. It's 15 inches long. Both of these have a tacky strip on the end. Let me just turn the Angel Edition over. So on the back side, there's a really thin little rubber strip, and it's tacky, and I know you can't really tell this, but my finger's sticking to it. And this is really nice for new long arm quilters who need a little more stability when they're exploring ruler work, because this will stick to the fabric and it won't slide around on you. And I'm going to show you in a minute how to re-stickify once it gets all filled up with lint, how to get that stickiness, how to clean it off so that it's sticky all over again. One thing I do want you to notice though are the etched lines on this ruler. So there's an etched 45 degree and a dashed etched 65 degree marking on both the left and the right side of the ruler. There's also an etched line that would show you the 1/2 inch mark. Remember that when you have your hopping foot up against the edge of this ruler, your hopping foot is going to place that needle 1/4 of an inch away from the edge of the ruler. So the etched line that is just inside the edge of this ruler is actually going to give you a 1/2 inch line, and then there's a dashed etched line, and if you use that against your surface, then you would get a 1 inch line from your needle. So we're going to just use this quilt and place some just triangle shapes in this inside border. And I want you to just see what I've done is I've dropped my needle into the corner of the border, and that's going to anchor that position. And then I just take my Angel Guide and I nudge it up against the edge of the hopping foot, and I have a little tick mark that I've made on the fabric where I want to land. And I'm going to press the Angel Guide down, and now it's stuck. It's not going anywhere on me, so it has enough grip to hold there. So I'm not trying to do two things with my brain. I'm not trying to hold the ruler and push against the machine while my other hand is pulling the machine toward the ruler. I'm just doing one thing with my brain. So I'm going to turn the machine on, and I'm going to move it up the ruler. Now I do have a ruler base on, right? You want to make sure that you have a base on the throat of your machine to give you as much surface area support when you're using rulers of any kind. So I've got a ruler base on my machine. I have my ruler foot on my machine. I've got my Angel Guide pressed up against the fabric so it's stuck there. And I'm just going to be kind of holding it. I really don't have to hold it very hard at all because that stickiness kind of does the work for me. I'm going to turn that machine on, and I'm just going to move it up until I get to that top edge, turn my machine off. Now, did you see how it's stuck there? I kind of peel it off, and then I'm going to nudge this edge up against the hopping foot, place my ruler down right, so I'm 1/4 of an inch away from the tick mark, press down again. Now it's stuck to the fabric again. I'm going to turn on the machine and pull it down here to the next tick mark, turn my machine off, pull that Angel Guide up, and do it all over again and walk my way down this quilt. Now I could have used the 45 degree mark and the 60 degree mark to do these triangles, but the math actually wasn't going to work out. So instead I just used some paper and folded the paper to be to show me my markations of where I could divide up this space for this border. And I will just work my way down my quilt, and the Angel Guide is going to help me have the stability with that ruler so that I can easily make these straight lines. So that's how I could use the Angel Guide. I could use it for border work. It's just the right size. It's 8 inches long, 2 inches wide, so I can have nice stability with my hands. And then the bigger one, the 15-inch one, that one is big enough that it can do the diagonal even on a 12-inch block. So if you are doing cross-hatching, especially on a 12-inch block, this will do the diagonal for that 12-inch, so you don't have to reposition that ruler. So many times if you use a smaller ruler like this, for cross-hatching on a 12-inch block, you have to reposition this ruler, and then sometimes if you're not exactly perfect, you'll get a little kink in the line. Well, with the Ideal Quilt Guide, you just lay that down, it sticks down, it's not going to move on you. You just pull that machine down the edge of the ruler and you have a perfect line that doesn't have a little kink in it. I put a different quilt on because I want to show you another way that you can use the Ideal Quilt Guide. Now we've shown you how to use it with that tacky bit, with that sticky bit down, but actually if you turn this upside down with that sticky side up, there's a whole other way to use it. Because this entire ruler with that sticky bit will actually stick to my hand. So if you have arthritis or other issues, it can give you some good stability if you just stick the whole ruler to your hand like a whole other tool. I'm just going to use it upside down. I've got my 60-degree mark along the edge of this border, and I'm just going to stick my hand on the ruler and bring it down. If you are used to using rulers where you slide them and where you go around applique, for example, imagine being able to not have to grip the ruler, but just have it stick to your palm, stick to the edge of your fingers, and it becomes like a whole other piece of your arm. That's what this offers you. So if you like to slide as you go, you can do that with this ruler. So I'm going to line up my 60-degree etched line right beside the tick mark where I'm headed. I'm going to turn on my machine and I'm just going to move it down till I get to that tick mark, stop my motor. I'm going to peel my finger off and find my next tick mark, which is right there, and stick my hand back down onto the ruler and then just slide that machine down to the next point. And I just work my way down, unsticking my hand and resticking my hand as I go. But imagine if I'm going around if I'm going around applique or something, that really does give me so much more control, so I'm not having to grip the ruler. A friend of mine said she even gets blisters after a while when she uses her rulers. Well, this would prevent you from having to grab that ruler the way that you do with a typical ruler, because this ruler grabs you. You can buy it in a combo pack, so you can buy just the Angel Edition, which is that 8-inch ruler, or you can buy just the 15-inch ruler, or they do come as a package, as a combo pack that you can buy together. Now let's talk about what you do when that sticky bit fills up with lint. How do you get it re-stickified? It's super simple. Take a look. When you first get your quilt guide, it's going to have this white vinyl that's covering the edges, and you just peel that off with your fingernail. It's just there so that the manufacturer could etch the degree marks and the other marks that help us with lining it up on the machine. And then there's a little cover for the stickiness. Let me see if I can peel this off. Oh, there it is. Okay, so I can just peel this away, and that will reveal the stickiness on the back side. So peel that off, and it's got the sticky there that you can start using it and take that white off. Now when this fills up with lint, and it's going to fill up with lint differently depending on the fabric you're using and how linty that fabric is, when it fills up with lint, you're going to clean it off so that it gets re-stickified. And here's an Angel Guide that is full of lint, and I'm going to clean this off. What you do is you use Vantastic. So I'm just going to spray it with some Vantastic. And remember that this is not true adhesive. This is actually a really thin piece of rubber. So don't use a scrubby on it or you're going to scratch it. You just use the tips of your finger and you ball the lint up. So I've squirted it with Vantastic. I'm balling the lint up. And once I have all the lint balled off, I'm going to rinse it with water and then let it air dry. And it will be sticky all over again. It's like magic. It's so cool. So that's not true adhesive. That's just a thin piece of rubber. So don't go scratching it with your nail or a scrubby or something like that. Just use the ball of your finger to ball up that lint. Rinse it with water, let it air dry. They'll be sticky all over again. I know you're going to love these rulers. I have had so much fun playing with them, and it's going to help you with the stability when you do your ruler work. Thanks so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel so that you're notified every time a new video is posted, and visit me over at quiltedjoy.com.